all your life, you've been shaping your reality in a way you may not have noticed. It isn't just your actions, your mindset, or even your core beliefs. It's the way you observe the world. Many people remain stuck in repeating cycles, not because life is inherently hard, but because they've been looking through the same lens for far too long. Change the lens, and the entire world rearranges itself. Imagine this: two people step into the exact same room, same lighting, same temperature, same people, same surroundings. Yet one sees opportunity, while the other sees danger. One feels inspired, the other drained. One experiences expansion, the other contraction. The environment hasn't changed, only the perception has. And here's the fascinating part. Quantum physics suggests this isn't just a metaphor. Your awareness isn't passive, it's creative. The focus of your observation influences the way reality takes shape. The longer you observe through a certain perspective, the more the universe reorganizes to reflect that frequency back to you. This is why life can feel like it's looping, not because you're trapped by fate, but because you're viewing reality through the same energetic state, and life keeps echoing that back. Here's the liberating truth. The cycle isn't permanent. You don't break it by force. You shift it by changing how you observe everything around you. We were taught that reality is fixed, that matter is primary, and awareness is secondary. But modern quantum insights suggest otherwise. The world is not solid and static. It's fluid, full of potential. Particles exist in possibility until they are observed. This is the observer effect. Reality doesn't just exist outside of you. It becomes real through you. And you're always observing, even unconsciously. Your automatic reactions, your expectations, your emotional patterns, all of these are forms of observation. They're the habits that continuously collapse potential into the same familiar reality. Most people think they're simply watching life unfold, but in truth, life is often responding to the version of themselves they keep emotionally and energetically recognizing. Think about it. How often do you expect disappointment before it arrives? How many times have you looked in the mirror searching for flaws instead of possibilities? How often do you check your messages, your finances, your future, not with trust, but with worry? That is observation. And it's not just a mental habit, it carries energy. Whatever you continually acknowledge as real starts to solidify into the reality around you. Here's why many remain stuck in old loops. They try to stay positive, they visualize a better future, they even practice manifestation techniques. But the lens they're looking through is still colored by fear, scarcity, or old programming. So even when they reach for something new, their attention is anchored to their old self, and the field reflects that back. A new reality cannot be entered while seeing through the eyes of your past self. The moment you begin to observe from a new state of being, life begins to reorganize. And that is where a completely new frequency of reality becomes visible. Because it's not out of reach, it's simply that you haven't been attuned to perceive it. And once you align your perspective with that frequency, reality begins to bend and morph. I'm not just saying this, I'll guide you through it. In the next part, we'll explore how your focus doesn't just shape your thoughts, it shapes physical form. You'll discover that purposeful observation isn't merely a shift in mindset, it's a pivot in timeline. Stay close. This isn't just inspiration, it's the blueprint of quantum creation, and you're about to reconnect with the part of you that knows how to build it. If something inside you is already awakening, even in a subtle way, declare it now. I choose to observe differently. This isn't just a statement, it's a directive to the field, and the field is always responding. You've heard that focus matters, but no one explained what your focus actually does. Because focus isn't just about paying attention, it's energetic ignition. And once you realize how your attention interacts with the quantum field, your understanding of reality and thought will change forever. Focus is frequency. Let's decode that. Your focus isn't simply mental awareness, it's a vibrational tuner. Every time you focus on something, a desire, a memory, a fear, you're broadcasting a signal. That signal has a vibration. And the quantum field doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you're attuned to. Focus writes the code. Reality is the projection screen. What shows up on that screen is determined by where your attention consistently flows. That's why two people can live completely different realities in the same external world. They're not witnessing the same reality, their frequencies don't match, their internal lenses are misaligned, and their observations emerge from different energetic states. Have you ever considered the illusion of neutrality? Here's the hidden pitfall. You believe you're simply watching life unfold, but in truth, most people aren't observing, they're reinforcing. They fixate on what's absent and call it pragmatism. They dwell on worst-case scenarios and call it preparation. They cling to the past and call it memory. But through the lens of quantum understanding, every act of focus is an instruction, a frequency, a magnetic pull. You're not just observing, you're choosing. So pause and reflect. What am I continuously choosing without even realizing it? What loops have I been unconsciously feeding? Which version of reality have I been anchoring myself to? Simply because of the way I observe life. When focus is born from fear, life reflects that fear. When it comes from lack, experiences of scarcity follow. Yet the shift can happen instantly. In this very moment, I can redirect my attention toward a version of life that feels empowered, abundant and free. I can focus on serenity, on joy, on the feeling of already holding what my heart has been asking for. And the moment I do, my inner world begins to transform, not because the external world has changed, but because my perception has shifted. That single internal pivot awakens a new vibration, a new storyline, an entirely new reality. This is not just a beautiful idea. Science has already confirmed it. Dr. Joe Dispenza observed thousands of brain scans from people who learned to shift their focus, and their brains lit up as if their envisioned future was already happening. Their body chemistry changed, their nervous system stabilized, their energy field grew stronger. The subconscious does not distinguish between an event you have lived and one you have vividly observed, as long as the emotional charge is real. The universe works the same way. The moment focus becomes conscious, you are no longer a passive observer, you are a creator. Whatever I give my attention to, I nurture. Whatever I nurture, I begin to embody. And whatever I embody, I broadcast to the world, and that broadcast becomes my reality. The real question is never what I want, but what I continuously focus on. Because focus is not just a reaction to life, it is the architecture of it. Most people leave their focus on autopilot, scanning for what's wrong, reliving old memories, bracing for pain that hasn't yet arrived. But the moment I treat my focus as sacred, refine it, align it, lift it higher, everything changes. The old loops fade, and new realities emerge. Life stops echoing old programming and begins to answer to my truest frequency. And here is the truth that unlocks everything. I do not manifest what I want. I manifest what I continuously witness. If the feeling behind my affirmations, my visualizations, my meditations is still soaked in fear, lack, or not yet, then that is the frequency the universe reflects. It isn't because I am unworthy, or because timing is wrong. It is simply because I am still tuned to an outdated version of myself. Most people dream of abundance while staring at their finances with worry. They long for love while judging themselves in the mirror. They crave connection while feeling separate within. And reality responds not to their words, but to the signal they hold. When fear or doubt creeps in, meet it like an old memory, not as truth. Every time you glance at your life, ask yourself, how would the version of me who already lives this reality see this moment? Try it, and you'll notice a shift in your energy, and soon the external will begin to reflect that shift back to you. This is where your transformation deepens. It's no longer just about changing perspective, it's about using your observation to initiate a full timeline change. In these moments, you'll begin to feel how old realities can collapse, and how you can step into the one you've always known was possible. Once you truly sense that shift within, you'll never look at life through the same lens again. Here's the deeper truth. You've been observing life unconsciously, through the lens of anxiety, limitation, and inherited identity. And the reality you see today is simply mirroring that back to you. But now you understand something crucial. Observation isn't just perception, it's selection. You're not merely watching life unfold, you are choosing which version of life you participate in. To become a conscious observer, the kind who bends timelines, You start with awareness. Pause and scan your thoughts. Ask yourself, where does my mind drift when I'm not paying attention? What version of reality am I constantly rehearsing by default? Do I expect miracles, or just maintenance? Your habitual perspective is the signal the universe continues to match. Notice your automatic emotional responses. When a bill arrives, what do you feel? When you imagine your future, what images appear? When you sit in silence, what stories start looping in your mind? That recognition is the doorway. You cannot recalibrate a frequency you haven't first identified. Once you see it, you can begin to interrupt it, not by fighting, but by choosing again. Try this simple yet powerful shift. When a familiar fear rises, say out loud, "That's not who I am anymore." When you catch yourself imagining the worst-case scenario, pause and redirect with, "Let's run a better scene." When you notice your energy slipping back into an outdated version of yourself, adjust your body, change your breathing, and recenter your state. These tiny actions might seem insignificant, but they are transformative. Every time you disrupt the old signal, you weaken the familiar neural path and create space for something new. And space is all the field needs to reorganize itself. Now comes the leap. Close your eyes and picture the version of you who is already living in overflow, the one who is profoundly loved, who moves through life with clarity and intention. Ask yourself, how does this version of me walk? How do they speak? What no longer weighs on their mind? What naturally draws their attention? Then make the pivotal move. Begin to view your life through their eyes, not from your current self, but from their perspective. This isn't fantasy, this is permission. That version of you already exists in the quantum field. And the moment you start observing life from their frequency, you begin to collapse their timeline into the present, not someday, but now. Make this a daily ritual. Each morning, before the noise of the world reaches you, sit in stillness. Let your current identity dissolve. Release the name, the story, the past. Call forward the version of you already living your vision, and feel their presence. Then begin to see the world through their lens. Picture yourself scrolling your phone, moving through your home, having a conversation, all from that new energetic baseline. Hold that perspective for just 3 minutes, and you will feel reality begin to bend. That shift in observation isn't just cognitive, it's energetic. It adjusts your frequency, reprograms your field, and signals to the universe, "This is who I choose to be now." You don't have to fight or resist your current reality. You only need to sustain observation of a different one long enough for it to manifest. Your life has never been stuck. It has simply been tuned to a signal you forgot you could change. And now you remember. The next time fear resurfaces, doubt whispers, or an old narrative tugs at your attention, you'll smile and think, "Ah, there's the old timeline again." But I'm no longer tuning into that. You've been living a script, a story that started long before you realized you were holding the pen. Most of that script wasn't even authored by you. It was written by family, culture, trauma, repetition. Without knowing it, you've been observing your life through an inherited lens, replaying scenes you never consciously chose, reacting to roles you never volunteered for, reliving cycles that feel familiar but false. But now you are becoming lucid inside your own story. You're reclaiming something profound. You are not just playing the part, you are writing the script. Your identity, the quiet narrative you hold about who you are, is the lens that shapes what you observe and what becomes real. If that inner voice whispers, "I'm not ready, I always mess things up, I don't deserve better, this is just who I am," that belief becomes the filter that collapses your reality, not because it's true, but because it's familiar. The field doesn't validate truth, it echoes your dominant observation. You haven't been creating, you've been repeating. Most people never notice this. They wake up and unconsciously replay the past. They feel the same emotions, narrate the same limiting stories, expect the same outcomes, and then wonder why life never changes. It's not because they lack desire, it's because they continue to embody the same version of themselves that created their current reality. And the quantum field, it doesn't judge, it simply mirrors consistently, precisely, without bias. Same identity, same filter, same story, same outcome. When you decide to shift, everything changes. You don't need to overhaul your entire life or micromanage every outcome. You only need to transform the one who is observing. Because the moment you're in, a narrator evolves, the outer reality adjusts naturally. So ask yourself, who is the version of me that no longer carries that emotional scar? Who is the self that embraces their light without apology? Who is the one who expects ease rather than struggle? That version of you is not a distant dream. It already exists in the quantum field, waiting for you to turn your gaze toward it. And the instant you begin to observe life through their eyes, you initiate the process of becoming them. Here's a powerful way to anchor this shift: the script break. When you notice yourself reacting like the old version of you, pause, close your eyes and ask, who's behind this reaction? What story is this tied to? Then follow with, what would the upgraded version of me see or choose instead? That brief moment of awareness is you taking back the pen. That's how you exit the old storyline and begin writing the new one. Because identity isn't rigid, it's fluid, malleable, multidimensional. It bends toward wherever your energy and focus flow. And here's the truth that rewrites everything. You were never broken. You were only witnessing yourself through a distorted perspective. But the moment you adjust the lens, everything begins to rearrange. Your thinking softens, your energy opens, your nervous system calms, your direction becomes clear. Because the script you've been living isn't carved in stone. It's made of vibration, light, and choice. And every observation you make from this new state begins to write the reality you were always meant to live. Every observation is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. With each conscious moment, you are either painting the familiar or inviting the extraordinary. The old version of you survived by scanning for danger, repeating inherited stories, and mistaking habit for truth. But the new you, the one you are stepping into, moves differently. This version of you is not waiting for permission. It carries a quiet certainty, a soft yet undeniable power, because it knows reality bends to the one who chooses to see it differently. When you wake each morning, before the world's noise enters, you have a sacred window. In that silence, you can dissolve the identity that yesterday rehearsed and step into the one that is already living your vision. Close your eyes and feel the energy of the self who walks with ease, whose life is aligned, whose presence changes the room. Watch the day ahead as if from their eyes. Notice how they move through their space, how they respond to life, how they speak to themselves. That lens, that observation, is the portal. At first, the shift feels subtle, like a soft hum beneath the surface of life. But stay with it, sustain it. Every moment you hold this new frequency, the old reality weakens. Neural pathways that once ran on autopilot begin to lose their grip. Emotional patterns that felt inevitable start to dissolve. And as the old fades, the new begins to crystallize, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. Then something beautiful happens. Life starts to meet you where you are, instead of where you've been. Opportunities appear that feel effortless. Conversations unfold that open doors you didn't know existed. People respond to your presence differently, because your energy speaks before you do. You begin to notice synchronicities, small winks from the universe, reminding you that the field is listening, that reality is rearranging in your favor. This is the art of becoming. You are no longer the echo of your past, but the signal of your future. And the field can only mirror the signal you sustain. You are no longer living as a character trapped in a script you didn't write. You are the author, the director, and the experiencer of a reality that responds to your chosen observation. Keep walking in this awareness, and the extraordinary will start to feel ordinary. The reality you once dreamed of will become the one you wake up to. And the most powerful part is this: you will know it was never luck, never coincidence. It was always you, choosing, observing, creating, one conscious moment at a time. And as you continue to live this way, you begin to understand that life was never happening to you, it was always happening through you. Every moment is an invitation, every challenge a mirror, every quiet breath an opportunity to step into the version of yourself you were always meant to embody. The fear that once gripped you now feels like an echo from a hallway you've already walked through. Doubt may knock, but it no longer enters, because the room of your awareness is already occupied by certainty. This is where true freedom emerges, not the freedom of controlling every outcome, but the freedom of knowing you are the one holding the lens. Life can shift in an instant, because you have shifted. You no longer chase change, you become it. And the world, faithfully, mirrors it back. Your relationships start to transform without force, because the energy you carry no longer seeks validation. It radiates wholeness. Opportunities flow to you with less resistance, because the field recognizes your alignment. You find yourself speaking differently, walking differently, even breathing differently, because the story you are living is not the one you inherited, but the one you consciously chose. This is the secret most people never realize. Manifestation isn't about straining for what you want, it's about attuning to the self who already has it. Desire alone is a whisper, but identity is a command. When you witness life through the eyes of your empowered self, reality bends in response. And in that moment, a profound knowing settles in. You were never behind, never broken, never waiting. Every version of you has always existed in the quantum field, patiently waiting for your attention to find it. The future you once longed for isn't somewhere far away. It's here, woven into the choices you make in this breath, this heartbeat, this observation. So step fully into it now. Close the door on the old narrative with gratitude, and open your eyes to the life unfolding through the lens of your highest self. Walk forward as the author, the observer, the creator. The world will meet you where you decide to look, and as you hold that gaze, you will watch reality reshape itself around the truth you finally dared to claim. You are not waiting for the life you desire, you are remembering the self who was always living it. Your higher self has already begun writing a new line in your story, and now that the pen is back in your hand, it's time to author a new frequency. If you continue to carry the imprint of the past, then echoes of who you used to be will keep showing up. So the question is, how do you recalibrate your energy so completely to a new reality that it becomes natural, effortless, inevitable? This is what happens when focus turns into alignment, when your vibration becomes a declaration, when your energy grounds you like an anchor. You already understand how powerful your focus is, no longer just as a mental habit, but as a generating force. Whatever you observe, you awaken. Whatever you awaken, you begin to embody. This is not poetic language or vague spirituality. This is the science of consciousness. Focus isn't simply about choosing circumstances, it's about choosing identity. You are not just watching reality unfold, you are stepping into the version of life you continually observe. Every single day, you are surrounded by infinite possibilities. One timeline where you are empowered, another where you feel stuck, one of abundance, another of survival. Your focus is the dial, the decoder, the access point. The more you lock into peace, the more you become peace. The more you focus on growth, the more your energy expands. And if you keep directing your awareness toward what's missing, you begin to identify as the self that always feels incomplete. This is not cosmic punishment, it's energetic law. The way you observe directly shapes your inner state, and your state becomes the template for your outer world. The mind doesn't lead, attention does. As Dr. Bruce Lipton explains, it's not your genes that define your path, but your perception. When you see life through fear, your body enters stress. When you observe from love, your entire biology moves into balance. And here's the mind-altering truth. Your brain literally rewires itself based on what you consistently focus on. Neuroplasticity, quantum resonance, vibrational reflection, whatever name you give it, the result is undeniable. You are always transforming into the version of yourself that your attention reinforces. So the question isn't really, what do I want? It's who am I willing to become through the way I observe? Now that you've reclaimed your power to consciously observe, it's time to integrate that transformation into your daily life. Begin with the focus loop, a simple rhythm to anchor the new you. In the morning, before the world touches you, pause and ask, which version of reality will I choose to tune into today? Midday, when your old self tries to sneak back in, take a breath, close your eyes, and say, I return to the self I am stepping into. At night, as you drift to sleep, revisit the moments you observed with intention, and feel gratitude flood your system. Let that feeling sink into your body like a new blueprint. Over time, this elevated version of you becomes your natural baseline, not through struggle, but through sacred repetition. This is the turning point. You no longer need to push. You no longer need to push. You no longer need to manipulate the universe into compliance. You only need to consistently observe life through the lens of the self who already embodies your highest potential. Because when your observation becomes conviction, the field responds. When your focus stabilizes, your new reality begins to crystallize. And now you remember you were never a passive recipient of life. You are not trapped in a script you didn't write. You were never meant to endlessly react to the chaos around you. You are the witness. You are the chooser. You are the architect. Whatever you choose to observe sets your frequency, and that frequency reshapes your entire reality. So take a slow breath, tune in, ask yourself right here, right now, what am I finally ready to call into existence? Who am I prepared to embody from this moment forward? Because this isn't the end of a message, it's the opening of a new dimension. It is the doorway to your next life, already waiting for you to step through. As you step through that doorway, something extraordinary begins to unfold. Life no longer feels like a chain of random events, but a living reflection of your inner state. The moments that used to feel heavy start to feel lighter. The conversations that once drained you now reveal insights, lessons, and subtle opportunities. Even challenges appear different, because you are no longer meeting them as the old self. You are meeting them as the architect, the conscious creator, the one who knows that every observation is a choice, and every choice is a frequency. And then you notice the signs. Synchronicities seem to follow you, a call at the perfect time, a door opening effortlessly, a whisper of inspiration arriving right when you needed it. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. The universe is reorganizing itself to meet the self you have chosen to become. The more you sustain this new frequency, the less effort life requires. The need to control, to push, to force begins to dissolve, because you finally understand. Alignment is the most magnetic force in existence. When you are aligned, life flows toward you. People, opportunities, and ideas find you. Doors open without knocking, because the vibration you carry speaks louder than words ever could. This is where the old story fully dissolves. You no longer wake up searching for evidence that life is against you, because you know life is simply echoing the music you play. You no longer rehearse the past in your mind, because the past is no longer the lens through which you live. Instead, your attention rests in the now, in the living pulse of creation, in the version of you that feels inevitable because you've finally stopped resisting it. And with this awareness comes a profound peace. You realize you don't need to rush. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to chase. You are already standing on the stage of the life you were meant to live. And all that's left is to keep choosing it. Moment by moment, breath by breath. Close your eyes for a moment and feel this truth settling into your system. You are safe to expand. You are safe to receive. You are safe to step into the version of yourself that no longer hides, no longer apologizes, no longer doubts. The field is listening. Your body is listening. Life itself is leaning in, waiting for your next chosen observation to become its next creation. And when you open your eyes, you will know, you are not the same. The shift is not temporary, it is foundational. You have reclaimed the pen. You are no longer just a character in a story you didn't write. You are the author, the director, the experiencer, and the witness of a life that now moves in harmony with the truth of who you are. From this moment on, everything you observe is alive with possibility. Every thought, every glance, every moment of focus is a doorway. And the more you step through, the more the extraordinary becomes your new ordinary. This is what it means to awaken. This is what it means to finally live as the self who was always waiting for you on the other side of your own attention. There comes a moment when you realize the life you desire isn't somewhere in the distant future. It's here, waiting for you to step into it. The gap between where you are and where you want to be has never been time, luck, or worthiness. It has always been identity. Every version of you already exists in the quantum field. There is a self who has already released the old pain, a self who walks with confidence, a self who lives in overflow and ease. That version of you is not waiting to be created, it is waiting to be claimed. When you start to live as that future self now, something miraculous happens. Your mind, your body, and your energy begin to synchronize with that version of reality. Your brain fires as if your vision is already true. Your heart begins to trust. Your nervous system relaxes. Life itself leans in to meet you at this new level. Most people wait for proof before they believe. They wait for the relationship, the money, the opportunity, the miracle. Then they'll finally feel whole, safe, or abundant. But reality doesn't work that way. The universe mirrors the signal you are broadcasting, not the words you are speaking, and the signal comes from your state of being. So step into it now, speak as the self who already arrived, walk as the self who already belongs. Feel gratitude not for the hope of what might come, but for the knowing that it's already alive in your field. When you do this, you collapse time. You stop waiting for the future and start magnetizing it into your present. Close your eyes and picture it. The version of you who already lives in alignment, love and abundance. See their day, feel their energy, hear their inner voice, and then open your eyes and move through the world as them. The more you do this, the less you are rehearsing a future, and the more you are embodying it. That embodiment is the bridge. That is how dreams stop being visions and start becoming your life. And when the old self tries to pull you back, you will smile gently, because you know the truth now. You are no longer choosing that version of reality. You are no longer tuning into that frequency. You are living as the self who has already arrived, and life has no choice but to reflect it back. There comes a stillness at the end of this journey, a moment where you realize that nothing outside of you ever truly held the power. The world you lived in was always responding to the way you chose to see it. And now, for the first time, you are seeing clearly. The old you, the one who lived in fear, doubt, and inherited stories, begins to feel like a distant memory. You can recall that version of yourself, but you no longer believe in it. It was only ever a lens, a temporary identity, a dream you mistook for truth. Now, as you breathe into this new awareness, a subtle knowing blooms inside. You are free. Free from the weight of waiting, free from the loop of repeating, free from the illusion that life was something happening to you. You are not chasing anymore. You are not begging reality to change. You are choosing, and the universe is listening. Every thought, every word, every glance is a soft command to the field. This is who I am now. And the field, faithful, impartial, precise, reorganizes itself to reflect that choice. Feel into that power for a moment. Imagine waking tomorrow and moving through your day as the self who already lives your vision. The world may look the same at first glance, but the energy is different. The air feels lighter. People meet your gaze differently. Doors seem to open without effort, because alignment itself is magnetic. This is the truth that dissolves struggle. The future is not something you walk toward. It is something you tune into. Every observation is a frequency. Every frequency is a reality. And every time you return to the state of your highest self, you are stepping into that reality again and again until it becomes the only one you know. So breathe, feel this moment anchor into your cells, your mind, your heart. Whisper to yourself, I choose to see differently. I choose to live as the one I have always been becoming. I choose the reality that reflects my highest self. And as you carry this into the world, life responds. Synchronicities bloom. Old patterns dissolve. What used to feel impossible becomes natural. And you finally understand you were never manifesting things. You were manifesting yourself. The script you once lived is complete. The pen is in your hand. The new chapter has already begun, written in the language of energy, attention, and choice. And as you step forward into this new reality, every breath, every thought, every moment of presence is a declaration. You are no longer waiting for the life you desire. You are living it.